That's so bizarre. Okay, folks, hey, let's begin. Phase 1. We're tapping thumb to index finger, thumb to middle finger, thumb to ring finger, thumb to pinky finger. We're going to start to calm down that brain central nervous system. It's like putting an ice pack on that amygdala where it just goes shh. And with each tap, one syllable. Ah, va, ah, va. I made it all the way through my hand on that, right? You know this. This is day 28. You've been here enough now. You know this. Ah, va, ah, va, ah, va, ah, va. And we have this beautiful crane joining us this evening. Welcome, everyone. We're coming up on just about 1 minute into phase 1, the nullification phase of word meditation. We're going to dovetail into phase 3, parlay it right off of what Adam was talking about today. But right now, it's ah, va, ah, va, ah, ah, va, at whatever pace you feel comfortable with. And it is a loverly, sepia-toned Sunday evening here at the Village. And Keith Johnson was good enough to sage bomb the basement so it smells amazing down here. Now, if I was a kid, my dad came in, he's Pennsylvania Dutch, he'd be like, down here smoking them old weeds. Smell like you down here smoking them old weeds. I'd be like, nah, Dad, that's just sage. I don't know about no sage. It smell like weed. He was not always as open as he could be. God rest his soul. And you know you were laughing when I told you that story. You know that was funny. My dad was really, really funny. I miss his humor. We're just about 2 minutes into phase 1 here, folks. If you're just now joining us, we have a big audience tonight coming to the sepia tone. D. Delver got a kick out of that story about the sage. But it was really lovely for Keith to do that, to set the mood. Listen, you can meditate anywhere, with your eyes open, with your eyes closed. As long as I'm doing the tapping, and I'll let you know a little secret, I actually meditate before I meditate with you guys to kind of clear out the gunk, because it's really about listening, hearing, and then speaking. And I learned that from my meditation teacher and some other sources. Listen, hear, speak. So we're just about 4 minutes into phase 1. Yeah, Jennifer Maldonado, it's good to have you here. So many of you with us. We're going to dovetail off where Adam was today. He had a beautiful phase 3. He is such an amazing meditation teacher. I really enjoy his sessions. I always enjoy sitting in with him. Ryan Culberson, coming from Oklahoma, where the wind comes rushing down the lane. Ryan, we're just about halfway through phase 1, tapping on ah, then va, then ah, then va, ah, va, ah, va. We're doing phase 1 finger tapping nullification, coming to you live on Sunday night. So many friends on here and wonderful folks. What a community of folks that get together and show up for each other. I know it's hard to see, but the crane is still sitting right there in the center of your image over there at the gazebo. And he's just lovely. He's just hanging out, being all zen. With just about 2 more minutes remaining in phase 1. Just about 2 more minutes in phase 1. You know, Adam likes to remind folks, tag your friends in the comment section if you think they could join us, or your folks in your cohort, to remind them to join us. We're coming to you live twice a day, tapping on ah, then va, then ah, then va. And we're going to continue on even when operations pick back up. We have a beautiful big audience. We're getting about 1,000 folks per session watching the session, and these are getting so much closer together. It's like we just said goodbye moments ago, and here we are again back together, getting through the rest of our evening. Phase 1 of the nullification phase. So good to have all of you with us. Thank you for tagging your friends like that, and leaving your comments and having them join us, because they'll see this in their feed later, and maybe they'll have an opportunity to get their meditation in at a time that's a little more workable for them. It's part of our accountability to each other. Still tapping on then va, then then va, then va, va, and y'all are doing great. So good to be here with you. I so look forward to this all day, surrounded by the smell of sage. Sometimes we burn Palo Santo. I used to think that stood for St. Paul. See, I think I know stuff, but that's actually holy wood. Because I'm like, oh, Palo Santo, they just flipped at St. Paul. It's okay, Terry. It's good to have you here. Never. Love is never having to say we're sorry. We're just so grateful that you get here with us because we co-create purpose and meaning with each other. Tapping on va, va, va. Wonderful. Let's transition. Let's cease tapping. Cheryl Dawson Mangus, your timing is perfect. If you're just now arriving, we're moving to the breath awareness mindfulness phase, where we are inhaling on There's King Mike King the glue, exhaling on Va. Inhaling on exhaling on Va. Mike, we have a crane right across the water, moving away from the gazebo. Big long strides. This is the phase where I start to get out of the business that I'm pretending that I'm not pretending. And I get to the unmourned grief below my denial of having been abandoned, neglected, abused, betrayed, rejected, tricked, and had. And what I do with that denial of my denial is I will do whatever it takes to look good and avoid looking bad. Why? So I don't touch the grief. Why? I don't know why. It's just part of the beingness of being human. What I do know is that if I give myself permission to inhale on exhale on Va, I begin to resolve, dissolve, process, be with, mourn, and let go of that grief. And I get to the blue. I get unstuck. I get to the place of empathy, practice, community, on my way and on the return to love. Inhaling on inhaling on exhaling on Va. Inhaling on exhaling on Va. You're doing great. You're doing great. Getting more and more relaxed. That breath awareness, mindfulness. Getting down into that body, into the blood, into the tissues, into the nerves, into the bones, where all that trauma is stored and keeping me stuck, keeping me calcified, keeping me ossified. And the deeper I breathe in on the more I release with the exhalation of Va. You're going to feel your eyes start to water, your nose start to run. That fluid is just telling you that is just stored grief and trauma leaving the body. You're perforating your spirit as you're inhaling on exhaling on Va. All this is science, we promise. You can read all about this and how God changes your brain, and the body keeps the score, and a whole lot of other great research. Inhaling on letting go on Va. Yes, 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 yes. Love and peace, Sarah Youngblood. Inhaling on letting go on Va. That beautiful crane over there on the ledge. Probably taking a look at all those stones that are lined up way over there to the left, where there's a boulder per each cohort that's signed inhaling on exhaling on Va. What a beautiful, beautiful early evening to be together in spite of anything else that's going on. Inhaling in and go exhaling on Va. See, our practice doesn't know anything about COVID-19. It just knows that we're inhaling on letting go on Va. And that's the power of returning to the breath. Inhaling on exhaling on Va. Because we know it's never not now. Inhaling on exhaling on Va. Knowing that it's never not now. Inhaling on letting go of all the trauma, all the grief, all the sorrow, all the fear, all the sadness, all the anger, all the depression, all the anxiety on Va. Just letting it go. knowing that you have so much power to heal. Inhaling on ah. Exhaling on ba. You're doing great. You're doing so good. So beautiful here today. What a gift to be with you. Inhaling on ah. Exhaling on ba. I told you that crane was going over to those stones to check out the cohorts. That crane is just about on those stones over there. Inhaling on ah. Exhaling on ba. That crane is just so peaceful and majestic to watch as it makes its way right past the stones. Inhaling on ah. Exhaling on ba. We have so much beautiful wildlife here. It just shows up. Just like in the third phase when we get to thoughts, feelings, sensations, phenomenon, it just shows up unbidden. It just does what it do. Inhaling on ah. Exhaling on ba. For just about another 90 seconds. Exhaling on ba, knowing you're right where you're supposed to be. Doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing for yourself. Inhaling on ba. Letting go of all of the grief and sorrow on ba. Wonderful. As we begin to transition here in the next 30 seconds to phase 3, you got to be what we call, and look at those ducks right there, you got to be a duck walks into a bar kind of a person. If somebody tells you, hey, a duck walked into a bar, and you say, hey, ducks don't walk into bars, you're not going to get this. That's called being a guy in a diner. So being a duck walks into a bar kind of people that we are, I got to imagine as I open my eyes and look down inside my mind's eye, I'm standing on home plate. Day 28, we know the drill. There's the beautiful ball field. Oh my goodness, check me out. Once again, I'm standing on home plate. I take about 4 big steps back. There's my director's chair waiting for you with your name stitched on it. Pop up in that chair. Get seated in that chair. Look at that beautiful baseball diamond. Notice home plate, the pitcher's mound, second base, center field to center field wall. Representing thoughts, feelings, sensations, and phenomenon. Remembering that all of us brought 4 people with us to the meditation today. The manager, the firefighter, the true self, and the exile, also known as the inner child. Watch in your mind's eye as the manager and the firefighter walk to the stands, walking away from one another to their respective seats in the stands, way high up in the stands. As you notice thoughts coming unbidden, feelings coming unbidden, sensations coming unbidden, phenomenon occurring the way phenomenon occurs. Realizing because the manager and the firefighter are off the field, and because the exile's got the receipts, and the true self knows that maybe, just maybe, who I am is not what's going on for me internally. I can live all of my waking life like this, a moment at a time, so long as I keep the metaphorical, metaphysical, ontological manager and firefighter off that field of play. Every moment to moment of my life can be noticing, myself noticing, and that's home plate, noticing it. Notice thoughts and float them away. Notice feelings that come up and float second base away. Notice sensations in my body and let them rise and float away. Experiencing phenomenon as it occurs and letting it float away. The key here is not to make meaning of the meaninglessness. As soon as I do that, as soon as I catch myself catching myself making meaning, I have to remind myself, oh, that's an error. I'm standing on home plate. And all I'm left to do as I practice is go back and get in the director's chair and just watch the parade and not get in it. And the more I practice this, the more I get my life. And my life is simply to sit in that chair and notice what I'm noticing. And being with all with that with which I cannot be. That is a state of waking metacognition. And the way to get there is this practice period that you're doing so wonderfully. When you're simply noticing the thoughts, they will come unbidden, as will the feelings, as will the sensations, as will the phenomenon. And the only parts of me that will ever make meaning are the manager and the firefighter. Why? Because they hate the exile. Why? Because the exile has the receipts. And when the exile is left with the true self, all of me is integrated. And I can be with thoughts, and I can be with feelings, and I can be with sensations, and I can be with phenomenon. Just like that crane across the water now, on the edge, just being a crane. At no point today is that crane going to come over here and tell me what it thinks, or tell me what it feels, or tell me what it's sensing, or give a feedback report on its experience of phenomenon. It's just being. It's always already being. And that's what this practice gives us access to internally. And if I'm already always being internally, then maybe, just maybe, who I am is not what's going on for me internally in terms of mental states, emotional states, bodily states, thoughts, including memories of representation, stories I make up about what happened. And we go deeper and deeper and deeper to the part of ourselves that is already always integrated. That is your birthright. That is where you are you and connected to Source. And that's where we practice, down on the field, in what is known as the ontological subjective reality, where life happens on life's terms. And the more intentional the practice, the more we take this out in our waking moments to our everyday life. And life, slowly but surely, begins to show up differently because we begin to change our mind. It becomes nearly effortless, and we go from attacking and judging and blaming to forgiving, loving, and blessing as we return to love. And maybe, just maybe, who I am is not what's going on for me internally. We're playing the game of integration, and you're doing wonderful just by hanging in and being with the guided portion. We're all learning and growing together. Every day we choose to do this. We go just a little bit deeper, a little bit farther, and get a little bit better. And then the growth in our everyday lives becomes exponential. This I promise. Take the next 30 seconds and slowly, slowly, slowly begin to come back to yourself. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and slowly open your eyes. All right, welcome back, players. How about that, huh? That was a good one today. It's sepia toned here. There's no filter on that. That's just the way it is. The crane is still out there craning away. Thank you so much over the course of the coming days and weeks, and go deeper and deeper and deeper with you. We'll go as deep as, namaste, brother. We'll go as deep as you'd like to go. And we're going to continue through this journey, this hero and heroine's journey together. Regardless of what's going on in the world, we still get to practice